Welcome to another episode of the Happy Friday Committee, Happy Friday Committee Mindset. Today we have a special guest, Mrs. Wanda Hamlin, who is a school teacher who just won an award for her excellent work in the educational system. Welcome, Wanda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jason. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I asked you on here just to get your perspective on the Happy Friday mindset, which is being fearless, resilient, intuitive, determined, appreciative, and youthful. And I wanted to frame this in the sense of what it takes to be a good teacher. Um, so, starting off with the word fearless, and we'll just work our way down. What does fearless mean to you in terms of being a good teacher?
Well, fearless to me, as far as being a teacher, would be having the mindset to say, "Hey, you know what? I may have to think outside of the box. I may My classroom may look different from the next person's classroom, and be willing to try things that may work for one kid, and then say, hey, you know what? For this next kid over here, this isn't necessarily working. So I have to be willing to open up and be vulnerable with my colleagues and
Hmm.
say, hey, what are your ideas? I don't have all of the answers. So it's a team effort. And let's work together to try and figure out how we're going to help the student that I have, and me being willing to help somebody else with that as well. So it's not that I have to look at myself and say, I don't have all of the answers, and it's okay not to have all of the answers, and it's okay to reach out for help. So for me, being fearless means being vulnerable enough and willing enough to say, I don't have all of the answers,
Hmm.
and let me talk to my coworkers again and see what can I do to help push this student along, because it's not about me. At the end of the day, it's about, let's get this kid the whatever it is that he or she needs to push them along.
Excellent, excellent. What advice do you have in terms of being resilient for a student who is struggling in school?
The advice that I have is be open to maybe doing things that are not that aren't comfortable. And I literally just had this conversation with my assistant principal at my school,
Mm,
because we had talked about, hey, he's off task frequently. I constantly have to say, hey, come on, pay attention, pay attention. And if I'm not standing over him, he's not going to do his work. He's
mm,
like out of his seat, he's drawing. And I think he has a lot of artistic creativity that will take him far in life. But as far as academics, it's a struggle for him to really focus and pay attention. So I created this behavior chart for him where he can kind of see, okay, right now we're doing this. This is this block of time. I can get points, and I said, for each point that you get like a smiley, and you get a little smile ticket, which is part of our school incentive. But that still wasn't working, because if I
yeah,
wasn't right there, he's still not going to do his work. So I was telling my assistant principal, I had to have a mind shift, and I had to say, okay, look, if this way doesn't work, then let's try it another way. And it's not like, I had to tell myself, this is not supposed to be punitive. This
yes,
is
ma'am.
supposed to be something that at the end of the day is going to help him learn, and one, motivate him to want to learn, and two,
Mm,
help him to become independent and give him something to where he can use it and train himself to learn how to stay focused. So for me, being resilient is, you know what, I'm not going to give up on this kid. Yes, I may be frustrated. Yes, I may want to say, there's another point I'm going to take away, and I'm going to
yes,
tell your
ma'am.
mom, I want to say that. But the reality is, like, we just gotta get him to where he needs to be. So being resilient to me means, let's keep going. Let's find that this way didn't work. Let's find another way. The goal is by the end of the year to get him to where it is he needs to be.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Excellent answer.
Thank you.
Next question, or the next principle, is being intuitive. And How can a student find their purpose within the student body in terms of following their intuition? What does that what does that look like to you?
Well, to me, and I really have to think about this one because that's very interesting. I've never thought of that before as far as like the kids being intuitive and them feeling like, I guess, like, are you asking like how do they find their fit and like how they can, okay.
Absolutely.
Um that's a really great question. So that's one that really makes me stop and think. So to how do I get them to find their fit?
Yes.
Okay. So I would help them to find their fit and find their place and their role in our school by just showing them and like I hate to use the word training, but giving them the tools that they need and
Yes.
showing them how to use those tools in order to recognize that one, I'm a part of the student body. Two, I need to take pride in myself, like who I am and what I can contribute to my school, because a lot of times some kids may feel like, well, I don't feel like I'm part of the school, or they don't realize that they do have a place in the school, and that the things that they do contributes to the school, whether it's through their work samples that we're putting up on the board and displaying each quarter. Yeah, I think we change it every quarter or like every other month. We have to change out our boards to display their work. Um, or whether it's, hey, this is how I walk in the hallway, this is how when I eat lunch, this is what I do, or hey, how do I treat others? I have an impact on the way other people are treated and the way other people feel here at school. And that's actually something that's kind of an issue right now personally that I'm seeing a lot of. This is my 19th year of teaching, so I'm seeing a lot of changes, and I really don't think some of them are aware. Now I teach second grade, so they're still pretty young, but I don't really think some of them are aware that my actions and my choices are impacting my classmates, or they're impacting other people around me. So that's definitely something that we're trying to work on as
Yes,
far
ma'am.
as them finding their fit and finding their place in school.
Wow.
Mhm,
How the next principle is being determined.
mhm,
How can a student be remain determined in terms of finding their fit?
mhm.
And as you as the teacher, how do you remain determined? This is your 19th year. How do you stay determined to make a difference?
Well, I look at it, and here's what I really have to think to myself. It's not, it's planting a seed. So it's like I don't see, or I may not see immediate results and immediate benefits, but I'm thinking ahead in the long term.
Yes.
What is it that you know, what impact do I want to have on society going forward? And I know I was telling my husband, like, hey, I'm not going to be here forever. None of us are going to be here forever. But I have the opportunity to touch the future and leave a legacy
Wow.
by impacting these students today. So even when I'm gone, they'll still, hopefully be here, and they'll still be making an impact in our world. And hopefully it'll be a positive thing and
Yes,
not
ma'am.
a negative thing, because I've
Yes,
turned
ma'am.
on the TV before now, and I've seen a student that's made great choices, and I've seen a student that has not. And so
Wow.
yeah, so I'm really, really, that's what keeps me focused and determined, though. Um that I want to impact the future. And I know I can do that by being a part of these kids' lives now while they're young. And I feel very honored, and that I have a great opportunity to be a part of laying the foundation since they are so young, um, so that they can build on top of that.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's very powerful. Very powerful. The next principle is being appreciative. How do you show appreciation, and how do the children uh show appreciation as well? Like, have you had any return students and things of that nature, as far as what you have done, the impact that you had in their lives?
Well, yes, I have had some kids every year they want to come in. Miss Hamlin, we miss you so much. We
Yeah,
want to be in your class. We
yeah.
just we just miss it. And I actually had a student from, I want to say, oh my gosh, this was, she's in high school now, but I taught her when she was in second grade. And we're actually friends on Facebook now because she was like, "Oh my gosh, she's my teacher."
Wow.
So I know, so it's just um for them to come back and say, "I miss you, I love you." And then I haven't started it just yet this year, but in the past, what I do is every Friday I tell students ahead of time, "Hey, look, this Friday is we're going to do this student here. Everybody's going to have to say one thing that they really, really like about this kid." And so on
Wow.
Friday, they all say something positive about that student. I'll type it up on the board so that the kids can see, what they've said. And
Yes.
I know at the end of last year, after we had taken everything down, my student teacher and I, we said, "Oh no, we took everything down and it's awards day, and the parents aren't wanting to see a display of their work or anything." So what we did is we took and printed out all of those positive informations that the kids said about everyone, and we put them up on the board so that the parents can see, "Hey, this is what your child's classmates think of them."
Wow.
So just to show that, hey, we appreciate you. These are some positive things that we noticed about you. And I just make sure that I stop and try to give even my coworkers their roses now,
Wow.
because when we're gone, like, I mean, it's all great that people are still saying great things about you, but you can't hear them because you're not here anymore.
Yes, man.
So it's important to like let people know why you have, and we don't know when our last day will be. So it's really important to have those conversations with people. And I try to make sure that the things that I admire about people, that I tell them, while I still have the opportunity.
Excellent,
Mhm.
excellent, excellent. The last principle is being youthful. What does that mean to you, and how do you remain youthful?
Wow, I tell you, Jason, that's an incredible question. And it really makes me stop and think, because I promise you, lately I've been feeling so old. I was telling my students the other day, I said, "Guys, I remember when I was your age, I was 7 or 8, and I was like," I said, "Guys, I woke up one day and I realized I'm in my 40s." And
Yes, sir.
I was like, "How did that happen?"
Yes, sir.
But but I tell you, I think I stay youthful. One, I still enjoy, uh, it cracks them up when I tell them, "Guys, I'm telling you now, I still wake up on Saturday morning at like 7 a.m. and I'm watching like Pink Panther and Friends with my
Yes, sir.
dogs." And they kind of chuckle at that, but I just
Wow.
try to remember those things that just give me joy, and those things that just bring really good memories and good feelings. So I think those are some of the things that help me to stay youthful.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
last and final question is, out of these principles being fearless, resilient, intuitive, determined, appreciative, and youthful, what principle sticks out to you the most, and why?
Jason, I have to say, every single one of those principles, they're absolutely incredible. And the one I think that really stands out is being appreciative,
Wow.
because when we're appreciative, we have an attitude of gratitude.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that attitude of gratitude helps us to retain joy. And if we're in a slump, or we're feeling depressed or oppressed, I think sitting down and literally counting our blessings, even if we have to write them out, makes us stop, think, reflect, and
Mm.
see, hey, these are the things that I'm grateful for. These are the things that quite honestly, that I not saying that I don't have to have, but that may not be in somebody else's life. So, or at some point may not be in my life, because it's interesting that, we take things for granted sometimes. I can't stand having a nose that's stopped up. I really, really can't. And I
Mm.
promise you, every time my nose gets stopped up, I stop and think about all the days when my nose wasn't stopped
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
And I'm like, yeah, how come that ain't passed me by? It's just little things like that. So I think having an
Absolutely.
attitude of gratitude is probably the one that stands out the most.
Excellent, excellent, excellent
Mhm.
answer. Well, that was the final question, and I would like to thank you for coming on. And we very much appreciate everything that you do. And I see why you made the Teacher of the Year award.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jason.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you. And I know this is going to help a lot of people. So thank you for coming on, and you have an excellent day, okay?
Thank you. You too, Jason.
Bye.
Bye bye.